Mrs. Billingsley, now that you're here, I regret not putting on some music for you.
That's okay. Not a problem.
All right. Oh, Lucia left. I bet she'll come back. All right. We are doing a recording, just so folks that couldn't make it today or slipped their mind, they can access this information. We've got folks that are interested, that have students coming in a few years to River City. We have current parents of River City students. They're thinking about, what the next program opportunities are for their students. We've got some incoming freshman folks. So thanks for being here, teachers. Thanks for being here, parents, and Mrs. Billingsley. I wanted to start today's conversation about what CTE is in general. So what actually is it? We're using these letters to advertise this evening's chat, and we posted all over our course catalog and that kind of stuff. And yet some people just don't quite know what it is, and that is completely understandable. So we're going to clear the muddy waters a little bit today with that, and then talk about the different CTE programs that we do have here on campus. So as an introduction, I'm Mr. Hanks, and I'm the Stage and Screen Pathway teacher and the CTE department chair. So I'm going to take the lead on this little bit of conversation, then I'm going to hand it off to all my amazing coworkers who have wonderful, wonderful programs to share with you. So here we go, without further ado. So CTE is career technical education, and it is something that we see across the nation, and it's actually something that we've seen for years and years and years. If you're my age, you might recall classes that were like ROP classes, regional occupational programs. And even before that, we might think of them as they might have just been like shop classes and home ec classes and things like that, right? So these were elective courses, but really meant to, shape ideas about what is going to come beyond high school in terms of career and college opportunities. The evolution of that has gotten us to CTE. And so there are these unique classes and programs that are really meant to bring students into the fold of career, right? Like what will, or I guess maybe perhaps to say, what are career opportunities out there, right? Students oftentimes have some blinders on because they're in the classroom every day, and they don't necessarily see all the opportunities out there of different jobs. And so our classes are here to provide opportunities for students to not only see what those careers might be, but to actually try them on and get hands-on with the kinds of activities that those industry professionals might do, and really start thinking about, is this something that clicks with me? Is this something that I might want to pursue? Also, too, the goal of our CTE pathways, and not all of them, but many of them, is to provide opportunities for students to see careers that may not require college, or maybe require only a couple years of college, or perhaps a certificate that they can earn at a community college, right? That don't necessarily require a BA or a master's, right? So, and oftentimes you'll see in our programs, we even have some entry points into some of those certificates and in college, early college classes at a community college level. So what helps run our program is that we align ourselves to 11 key elements of high quality CTE programs. And so if we kind of go around the circle here, we have leadership opportunities in our classes. We are continually upgrading our curriculum, so we have high quality curriculum and instruction. As I mentioned, we explore a lot of careers, and we help guide students into career opportunities. There is student support and student leadership development. So we do student leadership development in class, but also there's additional student support with our counselors and our administration in terms of how our programs can lead students to career. We align all of our systems to help get kids progressing through our programming, and that includes effective organizational designs within our pathways themselves, within our department as it functions on the school campus. Key to this probably is industry partnerships, where each of our pathways that you see today have their own local community advisory committee of professionals in the community that are in this field, in this industry, that are continually letting us know as teachers what's changing in the community. A lot of that happened in the last couple of years. And we're getting that information from those professionals, and then we're able to adapt our programming so that as we send our students out, it's not for something that's outdated. Again, we're responsive to changing economic and workplace demands. We are skilled faculty, so we get a lot of professional development, and which is amazing for us to continue to change our skills to improve what we get to offer in the classroom. And we do internal evaluations. We're federally monitored every once in a while to be sure that we're offering the best programming. And you'll see that we do a lot of program outreach and communication, including what we're doing tonight. So by hitting all of these markers, what we're doing is ensuring that we have high quality programs, okay? This is a little extra legwork on the teachers' responsibilities and our counselors and our admin and at the district level. But what this also does is allow us grant funding. And so that may be one of the things that students see first and are maybe most drawn to, is that our classrooms are full of amazing equipment, technical devices, things to be creative with, things to do, and you're going to see that in the examples today, that we're very well-funded programs. And that means the students get to get hands-on, try these things on, figure stuff out in the classroom, work on project-based learning, and ultimately, as they work through our pathway, get out into the workplace and working with our industry partners, get into internships and mentorships and hopefully future job placement. Okay, so that's CTE at a glance, and that's operating nationwide, but it's really robust here on our campus. So the next things we're going to do is look at specific programs at our campus. We have a number of different variety of programs. They're coordinated in a few couple groupings, and our first grouping that we're going to look at today is our engineering pathways. You can see here that we have 4 different engineering pathways, and there's so many ins and outs. We're not going to cover all of it, but as students get involved in these programs, it's our responsibility as teachers to get the kids excited about finishing this pathway, because there's all sorts of benefits to working your way through the classes. And just know that we can't cover it all today, but we're going to kind of skim through it and hopefully get you excited about it. Feel free to offer questions in the chat or raise a hand, and we'll do that. We'll also do a Q&A at the end if you'd like. So first and foremost today, we're going to start with our Engineering, Science, and Technology Academy. And be sure you unmute before you chatter away, Mrs. Alavi.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sadaqah Alavi, and I'm the Engineering and Science Technology Academy lead teacher and also the engineering teacher. So if you look at the slide, I just want to say I've been in this academy since 1998, and I'm really proud to say we have really good program and really good kids. A couple highlights about my program is that the kids come in this program during 10th grade, and then they stay between 10th, 11th, and 12th. It's like a small cohort or a small learning community that the kids go with, like as group of students into the math, English, science, and then they come to engineering. So this way, the kids really are very comfortable with one another, and it's like a family atmosphere. And all the teachers also, we all keep track of the kids because now they are a small cohort, and we know what's happening with their grades and their behaviors and emotions and all the other things that a high schooler will go through. Other thing about the academy I want to say is, like as Mr. Hanks said, we have a lot of leadership CTSOs, and if you see in one of the pictures, since 2011, Engineering and Science Academy at the state, we have got gold, silver, and bronze. But I'm going to say 1 year in 2017, we lost the gold by 1 point, but we bought it back again. So yes, it's a very well-rounded program. And also in 2016 or 17, we were like nominated as one of the distinguished academies in the state. So I'm really proud about that. And if the kids stay in this program for 2 years, or any program in a specific pathway, and it goes through all our pathways, then they can get internship their sophomore summer as interns to City of West Sacramento internship. So they have to be 2 years, 16 years, and that first summer, if they are in the 2 classes in the same pathway, they get that. I also do a lot of certifications with my kids. We have the soldering certifications from the IPC certification industry, and they get 1 certification their sophomore year and 1 certification their junior year. And then in the senior year, we have the CMOS mass design, which is an Intel industry standard based designation. And once they get that certificate, the kids, once they get a 2-year degree or they get a 4-year degree, that certificate will help them put a foot in the door with Intel or Sun or whatever company they want to work with, which does mask design. And also with the soldering certificates with IPC, they can get jobs starting at $25 an hour, going full-time school or part-time job. So with that said, I don't want to take a lot of time. The kids, really, I love working with the kids. They come to me sophomore year. If they don't like it sophomore year, they don't have to continue. But if they continue, then they stay the 11th and 12th, and they get a lot of college credits before they graduate. So with that said, Mr. Hanks, I think if I can talk and talk and talk, but I know other teachers want to talk too.
Right, we can all
Thank you so much
endlessly
for your
about
time. And I apologize, I have another meeting, so I'm going to go. If there's any questions, I'm sure Mr. Hanks will be able to answer. Thank you so much, guys. You take care.
Thank you, Ms.
Does
Alana.
anybody have any questions for me right off the head before I leave? Okay.
I have one question, and that
Yes.
is, can kids take any of these classes over the course of those 3 years, or do they need to start at the beginning and go all the way through?
They start sophomore year because it's a pure, they have to be in a pure academy. They start sophomore year in intermediate electronics. Let's say they missed the boat in sophomore year. I can add them in the program junior year, but then I cannot add them senior year. But in the senior year, they can take this pathway because I also teach in this pathway, the Project Lead the Way pathway, and they can take the electronics class here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great question, Charles. Thank you. So some of these, specifically, Ms. Alavi is talking about her academy starts with sophomores, and that's specific to her academy. Many of the other pathways that you're going to see today, freshmen or sophomores, even juniors, can start these pathways where at any point in their high school career. But the goal, of course, is to complete a pathway. And so if you were to start, let's say, robotics junior year, you could do this class junior year and then do advanced robotics your senior year, right? And then you're finished the pathway before you've graduated. So some of our programs are 4 courses long, some are 2. And on our RCHS, our River City website, if you can check out for each of these what kind of grade level we suggest for the classes to begin. So if you click on any of these right now, we're looking at the academy. So there's even more information about what Ms. Alavi was talking about today and descriptions of the courses. And then you can see when it makes sense for these students to take the classes, okay?
And now that Mr. Hanks is showing this page, there's also a video up here which you can watch on your own time, which talks about all my ex-students who are now working in the engineering field and their thoughts about how Academy helped them build their careers.
Yeah.
Okay? So thank you very much, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen, have a great evening. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. So that's great. Yeah. So talking about pathways, right? Like a sequence of classes is definitely part of the bigger picture of CTE, and that it's not just a one and done, like, oh yeah, I just took that elective and now I'm cool, right? But instead that we build on skills through the course of pathways to get them to what we would call a capstone class, where they have gotten the fundamentals, they've gotten even deeper into it, and then hopefully by a third class, let's say, they're really putting this work to use by doing project-based learning and ultimately getting up into internships and stuff. The other thing that came up with Ms. Alavi's discussion here is this other acronym. You know, schools are great for these, which is CTSO. This is called a Career Technical Student Organization. And so when we talk about leadership possibilities, this is a big one, right? Our organizations have a structure of leadership. Oftentimes they look a lot like clubs, but they're also kind of part of the class as well. There's a lot of competitions involved with our career technical student organizations. In this case, Skills USA is what Ms. Alavi is participating with her students. And you'll hear a couple and see logos for these other organizations that are different pathways are participating in terms of leadership, and then ultimately like mentoring and gaining soft skills and competitions. Okay, so keep an eye out for those CTSOs. Next on our list today, we've got computer science and engineering with Mrs. Johnny Warrior.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending the CTE Parent Night. I'm Mrs. Warrior, and I teach computer science and engineering pathway here at River City High School. With the growing demand in jobs in the field of computer science, our school wanted our students to be college and career ready. So 8 years ago, we started the pathway with one class, and with the support from the administrators, we currently have 3 classes in this pathway. Computer game design and programming, AP Computer Science Principles, and AP Computer Science A. Please watch the video on the left later, which gives a brief summary of the computer science and engineering pathway. There are various career opportunities that utilize computer science, including software engineering, data science. Please see the complete list on the slide as well. The video on the right is of our computer science River City alumni who works for Microsoft as an intern. In this video, he shares his experience and the benefits of learning computer science even in high school. So please watch that on your own time as well. Next slide, please. So the first class in the pathway is computer game design and programming. In this introduction class, the students learn programming by building mobile apps and 2D games in JavaScript and Scratch. They learn to program 3D animations using Alice and are introduced to Java programming. The students, they solve puzzles in 3D animated stories by programming in JavaScript. They see how computer science is used, in different fields by writing programs to mix music using JavaScript. They learn web programming in HTML and CSS. They're also introduced to drone programming in this class. Next slide, please. In the next level, AP Computer Science Principles class, the students, they learn Python programming language and Snap, a block-based programming language, which is developed by UC Berkeley. The students are engaged in a variety of hands-on activities in this class, like programming the microbit in Python to simulate Magic 8-Ball game. They learned to automate a robot arm and drones by programming in Python. In addition to learning programming, the students, they're introduced to networking and cybersecurity in this class. So Computer Science Pathway has Cisco Academy and Amazon Future Engineering Program membership. And the students, they use some of their curriculum to review the concepts learned in the class. And AP Computer Science Principles, like it says, it's an AP class. So it has a weighted GPA, and the students can earn college credits by passing the College Board AP exam. So the students, they design and they develop their own applications in Python, and they turn it into the College Board as part of the Create Task project for their final AP exam. So despite the pandemic last year, 83% of the students who took the AP CSP exam, they passed the exam and they earned college credits. Next slide, please. So the final course in the Computer Science and Engineering pathway is AP Computer Science A, in which the students learn advanced Java programming and will learn to program the drones in Java. This is an AP class as well, and has weighted GPA, and the students, they earn college credit by passing the AP CSA College Board exam. After the AP exam, the students work on gaining soft skill experience in Microsoft Excel. Computer Science Pathway have Oracle Academy membership, and their curriculum has been used in learning Java as well. We have field trips and guest speakers from industry share their experience with students. Every year, computer science students compete in Skills USA computer programming competition. Once again, this year, our students finished strong in regionals by winning medals. It was a tough competition with many other schools, including Folsom High, and our students did extremely well. Last summer, many students got internship opportunity. Even after the summer internship, some employers, they hired our students for weekend jobs. Also, this year, one of the students got accepted into Stanford University, where the student will be majoring in computer science and music. Thank you again, and please email me if you have any questions regarding computer science and engineering pathway. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Asha. All right, next we've got Project Lead the Way, Engineering Design and Architecture. Take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Hanks. My name is Matt Malacher. I teach two of the classes in the Project Lead the Way, Engineering and Architecture pathway. The first class is one that actually Mr. Fagu teaches, and it's an Introduction to Engineering and Design. And that's a class that can be taken as a freshman, sophomore, or a junior. I believe you can take it as a senior also. That is a class where some of the things that I learned in high school, in my high school drafting class, for instance, like learning how to draw the top, front, and side of an object, learning how to draw objects in 3D. Those are explored in Introduction to Engineering and Design. They also make a physical 3D object that they've drawn, and it gives them an introduction, of course, into the field. And then after that, they have some choice as far as students can choose to take digital electronics, which Ms. Alavi teaches, or they can choose to take civil engineering and architecture, which I teach, or they can take both. There's no reason they can't take both. And then finally, after those classes, they also have the option of taking engineering design and development, which I teach. On the slides here, there's some photos from the engineering design and development class, kind of the capstone course. On the left there, you see these little miniature golf holes that were designed using Autodesk Inventor, which is a CAD, a computer-aided design program. And so they designed it in CAD, and then they built it here on campus. And now the leadership ASB program uses them for lunchtime activities. In that class, that was kind of a little introductory project, but the main project that they do is they get to choose a problem of their choice, and then they design a solution to solve it. And I'm really excited this year. We've got some fantastic projects. One group is designing a robot to go into burning buildings with a thermal camera and see where the hottest spots of the fire are. After talking to firefighters, that was something that they found out was needed. And another team is designing a better way to cut a pineapple. So they're coming up with a product to do that. So they get to design it, build a prototype, and test it. And then in the civil engineering and architecture class, that's a new class, going to be taught for the first time next year. It kind of came up because I am a licensed civil engineer and a licensed structural engineer. And so I wanted an opportunity I thought it'd be a good opportunity to share my experiences with students. So this class gets to go into architectural design, gets to go into designing, we design a small house for Habitat for Humanity using the Habitat for Humanity criteria. We go out and we do some land surveying. You see on the slide, we've got, I got a stock photo of someone using an auto level to do some land surveying. We'll be doing that here on campus. And we will look at, a commercial building, designing a commercial building, and they get to see all aspects of it: structural design, architectural design, wastewater design, rainwater design, energy efficiency of the building, and so on. So I'm really excited to get the opportunity to share that with students coming next year. But the introduction to all of this is the Introduction to Engineering and Design class. So I encourage any students who are interested to take that class, see what they might be interested in, and then they can pick after that. So thank you, Mr. Hanks.
Absolutely. All right. We do have another engineering program, our robotics engineering program. It's taught by Mr. Fagu. And they do all sorts of things robotics. And I have to tell you, I don't know all the ins and outs, right? Hopefully what you're finding so far with our different teachers that are presenting is that they're experts in their field. Like, they know what they're talking about, right? And so I cannot do it service, but we do have just a couple minute and a half video that we can check out about robotics. Right. So as you're seeing here too, so many partnerships with local universities, community colleges. Students are really finding something they're passionate about and pursuing it after high school. And isn't that part of what we're here for? It's getting them fired up for what comes next. You're seeing here with our robotics program, in addition to our computer science programs, they're doing drone stuff now, right? That wasn't happening a couple years ago. And so again, we continually are able to upgrade our programs, not just with what the teachers are learning and able to talk about, but that we actually have those materials in classrooms. And so many of these photographs are kids working with things, right? And isn't that the kind of classroom that you want to be in? Something that's active and hands-on, and you're getting to problem solve with real things that you find in real life, right? So that's what makes these programs super exciting. All right, it's going to want to play again. So we are on to our next set of pathways, right? Just we can't fit them all on one page. So we had engineering on one side. Now we're going to go into our biomedical pathways, and we have Ms. Wu to talk to us about that.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Janice Wu, and I am one of the biomedical teachers. Our other one is currently at a conference right now, but that's Thomas Mellon, and he handles some of the other classes in the biomedical pathway. So looking at this slide right now, we have the yellow path and we have the blue path. The yellow one is another PLTW, or Project Lead the Way pathway, and that one is the biomedical sciences pathway. The blue path is for patient care. And the first class that students take for either of these pathways is called Principles of Biomedical Science, which breaks down into PBS, because we have a lot of words throughout the pathway, so we use acronyms here. So students usually take PBS as freshmen or sophomores, but I've also had juniors in the class before if they're just curious about the pathway and they want to see if they can knock it out in a year or two. But once a student takes PBS, then that qualifies them to continue in either pathway. They can continue in the biomedical pathway, the yellow side on the left, and that one is 4 classes total with human body systems, medical interventions, and then biomedical innovations at the end. On the right side, the patient care pathway has anatomy and medical terminology and emergency medical responders. So the difference between the two pathways is that the yellow one, the biomedical one, is more college focused because you learn a lot of lab techniques and procedures that are used at the college level. The patient care pathway, the blue pathway, is more emergency response focus. So if a student wants to go into EMT or EMR training afterwards, they can take patient care. But if they're thinking of pursuing a science degree in college, or they want to work in a lab or work in healthcare, then they would take the biomedical pathway, the yellow one, the slightly longer one. All right, next slide, please. So I have 3 slides total here with mostly photos because we are a very hands-on pathway. As the name breaks down, bio and medical, we pair science and biology with a medical and health application. So the bullet points here are just some of the fun things we do in class. So there's a lot of dissections. We cut up parts of organs to see what's going on inside and understand the processes inside the body better. Like I said, we use a lot of college and industry level lab equipment and protocols. So I have friends working in the industry and in upper academia, and when I tell them about the things that my students in the high school are doing, they're like, wait, are you serious? High schoolers are doing this right now? And I'm like, yeah, the biomedical students are doing this. So they get very excited to hear that high school students are learning the same techniques that they practice every day in their labs, like as a professional scientist or a doctorate student, whatever my friends are up to. Next bullet point, we also use sensors to monitor and measure body function because we want to make sure that students understand their bodies a bit better. They understand what's going on inside their bodies. They can describe the changes that happen when different external stimuli are applied. And finally, there's a bit of like creativity in the pathway as well. So some of the other classes, not the ones that I do, but the ones that Mr. Mellon does, his students take care of designing ER layouts, so emergency room layouts, trying to optimize the best flow of patients and people in there. My students take care of crime scenes. They come up with medical mysteries. And the capstone course requires students to come up with their own scientific investigation. So I know that in the past, some of Mr. Mellon's students have done these like questions like, oh, how does the acidity of your stomach affect how quickly aspirin dissolves? So asking these like again, college level research questions that they then design a whole experiment around and carry out the trials and eventually present it in this symposium style presentation. All right, next slide, please. All right, some things from my classes. So to get more granular on reinforcing scientific concepts with hands-on activities, on the left, when we learn about the anatomy of the eye, we do an eyeball dissection. So we take apart the eye, we learn about all the pieces inside of it. The two pictures in the middle, when we do DNA analysis and we learn about the structure of DNA, that's paired with actually building DNA models to see how the molecules interact, and then doing one of those college level lab techniques, the gel electrophoresis with the gel and the pipette and putting the DNA into the wells to separate it. And then finally on the right, when we were learning about blood, we did ABO blood typing with simulated blood, not with real blood. I always have to tell the kids, it's not real blood. Please don't go home and tell your parents that we played with blood in class today, because it was not real blood. All right, next slide, please. All right, and to bring back some of the vocabulary that Mr. Hanks brought up earlier, our CTSO, or our student organization, is called HOSA, Future Health Professionals. HOSA is kind of a club or a student organization, mostly run by the students. And in a week, we are traveling actually to Long Beach for our state leadership conference, which is really exciting because it's the first time this organization has gotten to travel outside of Sacramento. So we're actually gearing up for that right now. And the students who are traveling are competing in 3 different categories. So on the left, we have behavioral health, which is very, brain focused, nervous system focused. So in that, the students learn about the brain itself, as well as conditions that affect the brain, treatments, diagnostics. How do we pick apart the brain and help someone out with their brain? In the middle, we have CPR and first aid. And that one is one of our most popular competitive courses, because students take that and then they go on and get their lifeguard training, or they get CPR certified or first aid certified. So that has a lot of the scene assessment application and using first aid equipment like BBMs or the chest compressions. And the last one we have is Biomedical Lab Science, which is, again, practicing in a medical lab setting. So learning how you analyze lab samples and how you use equipment. And this basically not treating patients, but getting patient samples and then knowing how we read them or break them down. Okay, so that is the biomedical pathway, and I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Wu. All right, now we are such a big program. We're bursting at the seams. I mean, if you can tell already, we got a lot going on. And so we can't even maintain it here at River City. We have a sister site, a satellite site at the Bright campus, and we have a few of those teachers with us today to talk about the programs that are located just across town. So you can see here, we're going to be looking at our Ag Science Academy, noticing that this one's an academy like we heard from Miss Lavi too. It's a specialized kind of program. They have extra little elements going on in there. We have our culinary arts, and we have residential and commercial construction. Before we really get going, Lucia, what question do you have? Be sure you unmic before you do that. Are you unmiked? We can't hear you. No. We're not hearing you, Lucia.
Oh, sorry, my daughter hit the raise hand button. I'm good.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Good. We needed a breath, so that was good. All right. So here we go. Here's our next. We got McAllister talking about Ag Science Academy. Take it away.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Miss McAllister. I am the lead teacher for the Ag Science Academy. It is at Bright. It is on Todd Hunter. It's about 3 miles away from River City. So they do take a bus there for the first 2 periods and then get on the bus and go back to River City, or they go to River City first for 2 periods, get on the bus, and they come to Bright for 3rd and 4th period, and then go back to River City after school. So you're looking at some pictures here. The top left is one of my students working with some goats, and that is at Fiery Ginger Farms, where they are the farmers that participate every year in our internship program. So my juniors and seniors in my academy get to work actually on an urban farm 40 hours a week for 8 weeks. So they get to make more than $4,000 over the summer. And so that's an awesome opportunity. It really, really builds that resume. The goal when they walk across that stage is that they are ready to work. They have a solid resume, they have interview skills, they have a cover letter. Other pictures in here I can explain. We talked about our CTSO, and that is my FFA. So right there are some of my FFA leaders, my president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, reporter, sentinel, and historian. And then to the right of that is, you see the Hagen picture. So in August, usually the first week of school, we have fair at Yolo County in Woodland at the fairgrounds. And so my students that have projects, we go to the fair. It's usually about 4 or 5 days. It's always 106 degrees and very, very hot, about 12 hours a day. And my kids walk away with money. One of my students had a rabbit, and Rayleigh's bought it for $300. So all of my students, all of my seniors to date have graduated with money. So either scholarships or with projects. And the lower left-hand side, this is my classroom. I have, today we just moved out 6 chicks from the classroom to the chicken tractors outside on campus. We currently have 20 hens, we have 6 chicks, fish, and then we have 2 rabbits. So you see the incubator in the lower right there. That is exactly what we did. We had 7 eggs, 6 of them were fertilized, they hatched, and this picture of the kids with the chicks was in 2019. But I'll tell you what, I was so darn proud of those kids today. They walked outside, they just had their hand up and the chick was on their hand the whole way. Not flying away. They're like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. So besides the internships and the leadership component of it, my students also have SAEs, Supervised Agricultural Experiences. These are their projects that they work on to learn more about agriculture and to gain experience to add to their resume. We have field trips, we have guest speakers. We've been to Woodland Community College so that we explore other colleges, and my students actually graduate with college credit. They need to pass my my concentrator course, Farm to Fork 1, and my capstone course, Farm to Fork 2, with an A or a B, and they can earn 3 college credits. We are working on certifications, AQCA, Animal Quality Care, a certification, and then an agri-skill certification. So they're going to build their resume with those certifications as well. One of the outstanding performances that the students do that I don't know that they get enough credit for, but they do the 8th grade tour for all 6 of the K-8s in the district. And so they have approximately about 800 8th graders come through Bright. And Cheryl and I and Jason, Cheryl does the culinary program. You're going to hear from her real quick. Jason does the construction. And these kids, they just get to see all 3 of our programs, and they shine. They do wonderful. And for the pathway completion, so we talked about, I'm an academy like Miss Alavi explained earlier. So 10th grade is ag biology. 11th grade is Farm to Fork 1. 12th grade is Farm to Fork 2. If they complete that pathway, they get a cord that they get to wear at graduation. If they are an FFA officer, they get a sash. So it's really incredible. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hands-on. We have 15 garden beds. We have a 12 by 20 foot greenhouse. We're growing wheat. We're working with the California Wheat Commission this year. So we're going to harvest our wheat, and we're actually going to work with Miss Sutton in the culinary to make bread, tortillas, cakes, and pasta. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hand it back over to Mr. Hanks.
Thank you. So much fun. I love all that. All right, and just next door to all this, we have our culinary. Miss Sutton.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to the parent night. So I'm Cheryl Sutton, the culinary teacher over here at Bright, and I have a 3-course pathway. So by now you are probably getting a little bit more familiar with the language. My pathway is Culinary Arts 1, Restaurant Catering and Commercial Food Production, which is the class that runs the Bright Garden Cafe, and then also Culinary Arts 2. And I'm broadcasting from the kitchen. Some of you guys have called in or whatever, but the environment for learning here is absolutely state of the art. And I come with 20 years of experience straight from the industry. So meeting that with the facility, the students are getting a really good representation of what to expect in a career field. In fact, I haven't even been teaching as long as I've been in the restaurant business yet. So I bring all those skills in that I learned and I teach it to the students. These pictures just represent some of the things we do. We get out in the community. Students earn their food handler's card in my class. I had a student earn a food manager card, which is 5-year certification for food safety. And we do school events and some catering. And I have not been really active in the competitions yet, but I take kids all over the place to do both catering and hospitality. Could you flip the slide for a sec? I put another one in there. I want to talk a little bit about the curriculum because it's not all just about cooking and baking and being in the kitchen. My curriculum is called ProStart, and it was recommended by the California Restaurant Association, who I partner with, to get field trips, guest speakers. We do an event called Experience Hospitality, where guest speakers come in, and then we also go to restaurants and hotels because culinary and hospitality go hand in hand. It's a college prep business management program that focuses on hospitality and culinary arts and the food service industry. There are a lot of 4-year degrees that focus on hospitality management. So they're learning whatever the colleges are teaching. Also, I don't have a lot of videos up, but I am starting to become a TikTok content creator. I just upgraded that account to a business account. I have over 15,000 views in there. I post regularly, and if you want to take a really fun glimpse into our day, go check it out. I put a lot of content up there. I cross-post also onto Facebook and Instagram, so we're always really current with what we're doing. Could you take it one more slide? I think I put one more in there. Nope, that's it. That's it for me. If you have any questions, always email me or respond on any part of that social media, and I'll get back to you.
I was going to say before you, but I was going to have to promo your officials. You do a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Our other pathway at the Bright campus is residential and commercial construction. And so I'll just speak a little bit about what our teacher, Jason Billington, does there. He is like a hybrid employee with Northern California, construction training. And so in the mornings, he teaches adults that are doing pre-apprenticeship stuff there and then work placement through that program. And then the second part of the day, he's working with our high schoolers. And so it's pretty clear to see that we're teaching industry level intro skills that are getting kids ready to hit the ground running as soon as they're ready and have graduated. His CTSO leadership group is getting ready for a shed building competition. They design a new type of shed every year. The one that's seen here actually is kind of mundane to some of the more wild sheds that they build. This year, it's going to look like a fairy tale cottage. The year prior, it was a really tall castle with turrets and a slingshot shooting at the other competitors.
A trebuchet.
Trebuchet.
A trebuchet. Yes, it was awesome.
Which takes some serious, like, figuring out and building. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my stage pathway here in a second. But his students pretty much annually are building the sets for our plays and musicals and do an amazing job. And they're the most sturdy sets that I've ever had the opportunity to put children on. So I feel really safe about it. And you can see, of course, here, industry field trips, getting kids placed in internships and all that kind of stuff. So they're wielding hammers, they're using tools, they're getting all the safety along the way. They have opportunity for OSHA certifications. The next kind of step that they're looking at for certifications would include, I think it's probably for the adults, is like forklift driving and that kind of stuff. So it's an advancement, right? And again, what's the next step after high school? Well, probably moving into this adult program with the pre-apprenticeship, right? Which would be those next steps, and then on to jobs. So you'll be able to. I'm going to post this slide deck along with this video that we're recording today on our CTE homepage at River City, and you'll be able to click on all these links and videos that you find there as well. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up, you guys. So just a few more minutes. Thanks for hanging with us. I teach 2 pathways in the arts, media, and entertainment field of the CTE little programs here. So I have a stage careers pathway. It is a 2-step course pathway with introduction to professional theater and advanced theater performance. And on the film side of things, I have screen careers with beginning video production and advanced video productions. Now, everything that I do, film and theater, and our CTSO and all of our productions, all that stuff, I use the umbrella of RCHS Productions. So you're going to see that in just a bit and why that's helpful and important. Our CTSO is the International Thespian Society. So I of course could fill a slide with all sorts of images too, and I know that it was super hard for my coworkers to like select, like these handful of images to put on a slide or two to try to articulate all the amazing things that are happening in our classrooms, and they did a good job at it, right? We're getting a really good glimpse. And if you're like me, you're like, I want to take that class. Like that looks awesome, right? I want to hang out with some chicks. I want to make some cupcakes. I want to design some cool things and build things. And so thank you, teachers, for doing all that. I couldn't bring myself to choose just a few images, so I did this. This is the rundown of all the kind of activities that our RCHS Productions is doing this year. And so we work on all sorts of activities in class and also after school to bring to light things like studio theater, live and at home. We do live performances now, virtual stuff as well. We make short films with Raider Studios Films. We have an art collective, and so we do all things art and design with art competitions and art happenings on campus. We have a podcast, which has now reached 3 continents. We have our Beyond the Studio Doors, which is kind of our social media angle of things. Colorful cabarets to bring together our other performers on campus, including our dancers and our singers and musicians. And Counterparts, where I actually bring the advanced theater students and the advanced film students to work on projects together to cross-pollinate their talents. Because of course my filmmakers, they come up with all these wonderful ideas and learn how to use this amazing equipment, and then they need actors, and sure enough, we've got those actors, so they come together to work as a team. So Our theme this year is Find Your Light. And if you're an actor, you got to find your light on stage, but also it felt like an uplift to kind of, coming out of our hybrid learning and things before that to, come back into the light and reconnect with people on campus and with activities on campus. And if you can tell by the opportunities being provided by CTE here, students are finding their light, not just in my pathways, clearly in these other pathways as well. They're finding passions. They're digging deep into something that seemed cool on paper when they signed up for their class. And then they're doing amazing things. I get to meet with these teachers every week or so, and we share out about these things that are going on. And it's always amazing the projects that these kids are working on. And you just have to know that it's not just about the outcomes really of like, I made this product, but it's all these soft skills built in along the way that they don't know that they're getting, right? It's the vitamin in the ice cream that they're getting collaboration. They're learning how better to communicate with each other. They're clearly becoming critical thinkers as they problem solve through all these things. And in just every single one of these, even if it doesn't look like it on the outside, they are being so creative. And this isn't always something that they get to exercise in all of their classrooms. But we're hitting all those 21st century skills that employers are looking for. And again, a lot of you mentioned it, things that are ready for their resume, right? How else do you build your resume as a high school student? Well, you do classes like this where you're actually gaining skills. My logo does lead you to rchsproductions.org, where you can check out all the cool things that we're doing on campus with film and screen. Up here's us tonight. Our art contests, our colorful cabarets, and different ways that you can connect with us on our Instagram, our YouTubes, our socials. This website tells you everything about my classes. The intro classes feel a little bit more academic, a touch, as we explore history and the ins and outs of the basics of things, but they are project-based, right? There's no tests and stuff. They are doing the work. When it gets to the advanced classes, it's all in their hands. And I'm just the ringleader, making sure that everything's working. So they're making short films and short documentaries, or they're producing storybook theater, musicals and plays. So much of it's in their hands. Through all these hours, because there's a lot of after-school activities that they can participate in with rehearsals and performances, they're earning points in the International Thespian Society, which again benefits them with resume building things, and not to mention some really cool swag for their graduation. So check out, if you'd like, rchsproductions.org. You can find out everything about my classes, in addition to finding some really cool content on here as well, okay? You guys, I want to thank you so much for taking time today to join us for our CTE night and learning more about our pathways. Before I sign off, I want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions that have bubbled up. We've covered almost all of it, but there's always little loose ends if you can think of something. When we asked about this night being tonight, a few weeks after students have signed up for courses, the response was, well, things are still being worked out. And so if you are here thinking about your 8th grader and what opportunities there are for next year for your 8th grader coming in as a freshman, you're still welcome to communicate with our admin or our counselors and put in, questions or changes in terms of like, hey, I really want to get my student started in on this pathway. This is going to really fire them up and make sure that they're loving their first year at River City and setting them up for, the next many years to come. And so, the next few days, like week or so, is the best time to make any adjustments to those course requests, and they'll be honored. We have Mrs. Billingsley here tonight to promote our programs and make sure that students are getting placed in the right place that's going to drive their passions. If you want some extra research time at River City's webpage, you can check out all of our career technical programs. Yes, Lucia.
Just quick question. So some of the CTEs do you get college credits? Are most of those based off like they're an AP class and they just take an AP exam, or are they each different?
They are each different, yeah. So we do have a few of the AP classes, and then other classes are articulated with different community colleges. And so when you check out our different pages, shall I go to Farm to Fork, Mr. McAllister? If you head down, you'll see that we have like some asterisks and things on our flow chart, so you can check things out. It's also probably listed down here in some of this information. But this asterisk lets you know that they're getting special lab science credit. The Farm to Fork 1 class is articulated with Woodland Community College for college credits. So for some of the articulated class, the class itself, and probably ultimately passing a final exam, that's the college level exam, is going to allow them those college credits. And ultimately with the AP class, it's that final exam, it's that AP class that's helping them get those credits as well. So each of these flow charts are going to help clue you into some of those extra benefits that come with the courses as well. Did I hit the mark, Mrs. McAllister? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah. No. It's like I said at the beginning. I was like, there's a lot of information coming your way, and I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but I will. I'm pretty sure that Mrs. Billingsley learned some things today too. You know, like the more we sit and listen to each other's programs, the more we're like, oh, okay, and like the dots connect. So, yeah, no, it makes sense to have questions still. Absolutely.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hanks. I just wanted to chime in really quick, if I may. Thank you for CTE teachers for being here tonight. You're taking more of your time, and I really appreciate it. And I just wanted to reiterate what Mr. Hanks said in terms of course requests. So yes, please feel free after receiving this information tonight to email the counselors or myself or anyone, and we can make a change or emphasize the courses for your student if you are hearing some information. And I agree, every time I sit through these, I always learn more because it is intricate and there's lots of layers. But I will tell you that the opportunities are great for our kids, and if they start one pathway, they don't have to be married to it. So they can definitely, go start in one pathway and say, oh, maybe that's not for me, and they can go to another the following year too. So just explore, ask questions. We are here to guide you through the process. And again, thank you, CTE teachers, for all of your dedication and hard work. You're so appreciated.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Billingsley. We exposed the tip of the iceberg today. You've got contact information to any of these teachers via the website here if you want to inquire more. Thank you, parents, for taking time tonight to meet with us and learn more about the opportunities here on campus. And if you're watching this video later, thanks for making it to the end, and hope it was inspiring as well. All right, good night, everyone. Take care. Be well. I'll hang right on the call for a second if you do want to ask another question. Stop recording. Yes, Diane.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I thought that this school had an ROTC program, and I didn't see that highlighted, though I was working at the same time. Is that true?
So we've had ROTC in the past. We do not presently.
Okay. All right, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. And anyone else, Charles? My 916 number, anyone else? All right, teachers, thanks so much for being here. Parents, thank you very much. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you around. Goodbye, everyone.